So yeah, I mean, I get Luka Doncic going to Jordan Brand. Like it makes sense. I get it. But if I was an athlete, I don't know. It's the equivalent of going to like good music and being a rapper. Like in like from 2000, in between 2010 and 2015. Like yeah, it sounds good, looks good, but you're never gonna get the support and the backing you need to be the star that you are. You kind of have to come to good music as that star, i.e. 2 Chainz. Versus, I don't know, Big Sean. Big Sean should be a much bigger.
No. Big Sean's fine. No. You know who it is?
Who?
Designer.
Ooh, yeah, Designer or Tiana Taylor.
Tiana Taylor's garbage, but
she's
a pretty face. She's garbage.
She's something. But I'm sure if she went to Rock Nation, I think her career would probably been a little different. They wouldn't have put her in certain positions. You know?
I think though that if you sign with Jordan Brand, you are making a lifestyle decision.
Right.
You're making it because you like Jordans and you want to get all that extra
the
rub
free stuff. Yeah.
the rub that'll get you. I'd be perfectly fine signing with Jordan. Perfectly fine. I'd rather sign with Jordan than Under Armour or Adidas.
Depends on the type of athlete you want to be too. Like it depends on like do you want to create your own lane or do you kind of want to be like Chris Paul, where they gave him certain iterations of his shoes, but after a while he never had the backing. Now, granted, he's also not the athlete to do it, so maybe that's where Zion and Luka, maybe and Jason Tatum, hometown kid, maybe that's where they're different, where they're gonna be a little bit more out there. But if not, they're just gonna be another Jordan athlete. I mean, shoot, if Carmelo couldn't do it.
Carmelo's not very marketable to me. Carmelo didn't get entertaining until, and it wasn't even Jordan stuff. It was the Foot Locker commercial that made Carmelo entertaining.
Those were funny back in the day.
Apologize to Carmelo number 5.
Yeah,
like that was funny, and that was a Foot Locker commercial. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your guy Diddy 314 back again. Happy holidays with another episode of Soul Me State. We are here in our home away from home, the headquarters, 39 Castles. 1115 Pine in beautiful downtown St. Louis. We are here with the founder, the creator, the owner, the curator, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. Tell him the name.
Yo, it's Woody Jones, a.k.a. at LaunchpadMcQuack06 on Instagram.
Which cracks me up because of what you do in the community and at the store. Your Instagram handle is, as you said, the most famous sidekick of all, which I have to say, another time, another place, I wholeheartedly disagree with. The most famous sidekick of all time is Robin. Period.
Man. Robin was dope.
Robin became Nightwing. Robin is super dope.
But he made Launchpad may not be the most famous, but he's definitely the greatest. I think he was the most. Hey, he went hard for Scrooge McDuck and then went hard for Darkwing Duck. Come on, and he's a pilot and he's everything.
But he never decided to step out on his own. But
yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that. Right. So we're here in 39 Castles. Follow 39 Castles on Instagram because we just filmed wrapping up an unboxing of a very talked about shoe, a very polarizing shoe by a polarizing person. The off-white Nike Dunks, which I was able to secure on the sneakers app. And let's jump right into it because we were talking about it in the unboxing. Virgil recently made a statement that streetwear will be dead in 10 years, which to me is very interesting that he said it, seeing that I don't want to call him the current king of streetwear, but he definitely is one of the mouths at the table of streetwear with the Off-White brand and what Off-White has done on itself, collabing with Nike, IKEA, and now Virgil, is the headshot, the HNIC over at Louis Vuitton, which even now with their stuff kind of has, I don't want to call it streetwear vibe, but you can tell his fingerprints are on it. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Virgil's comments?
So I'll put it like this. I think his comments were a hot take. I think it was kind of something to say because maybe he's frustrated because he feels himself being not pushed out of that sector of the industry, but the competition is different. Certain people do well with competition. Certain people love to see competition because it helps them be a better creative. But then there's other people who don't. There's other people who, if they see that their lane is getting a little tighter or their gap is getting a little smaller between people, they will start to hate on whatever they're doing, or excuse me, or they'll just hate on the individual. I think that's what Virgil's doing here, because for him to say that streetwear, an industry that's been around since the streets, right? Since, if you want to be frank, you can say, okay, since hip hop culture was born in the late 70s, or you can say, hey, street culture is literally anything that's related to the black community. So clearly it hasn't died thus far. So what is you, as one man who's made his living in that, how are you saying that it's going to die? It's only going to die if we allow your words to be true. So that's how I look at it. I don't see it dying in 10 years because I think it'll change. I'm hoping what he was meaning is that it's going to transform, but streetwear is still going to be there. People aren't going to be, fashionistas or wearing suits every day. Like that's not going to happen. So
I think you have to my thought is you have to reevaluate the definition and who the target market of streetwear is. Because, and maybe I'm basing it off of St. Louis, your most common street person is not wearing off-white.
Exactly.
So I think his comments are actually not that skewed. Because who is that target market he's talking about? He just said streetwear. So if you're saying the people that wear Supreme, throw Off-White in there, things of that nature, I can understand where he's coming from, because the demographic who's wearing that stuff now is not you and I.
That's true.
I don't wear Supreme. No one in my collective circle wears Supreme. Who wears Supreme?
Young kids, right?
Young Caucasian suburban kids,
right?
And they're the ones who are using the bots to get all the Supreme. Even in various Facebook groups and Instagram groups I'm in, the people who are talking about Supreme are young suburban kids who are in the suburbs now, or
Asian
grown up
kids.
suburban kids. I don't even see Asians rocking, because the Asian fashion community they're on some others. I think that's fantastic.
They're very fast.
They are on something else already.
Yeah.
They are two steps past whatever we thought they were on. They're 2 steps ahead of that. They're more into the Murakami and just the different look. They're not into Supreme for real. So I don't think he was that off base in streetwear, because I definitely think the people who are wearing streetwear now, they're going to grow out of it because they don't have a love for it. They just like it because they saw it on TV. It's not what the only people, like when it comes to Supreme, the only people I will give a pass to wearing Supreme is people who I might have known, like growing up, who I know you were a skateboarder and you were wearing it then when I didn't know what it was. Like my first thoughts is the first black person I ever saw wear Supreme was like Method Man. It was a New York thing. Yeah,
it definitely was a New York thing. Because remember, it was really, so there's a lot of debate on how they really got their launch. Of course, it was the movie Kids, but then you could really say it was the Diplomat shirt. That's what really kind of took them to the next level and got them into the faces of, the black community of like, oh man, Supreme is really it. Like I said, I agree with you on that note. I just don't see. I think the definition of streetwear is probably the most important in this argument.
Yeah, we got to figure out who really it is and who is the target market. Because even the people I've seen get really upset by it don't look like me, and I don't consider them a street person.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, all right, who is streetwear? Because even when I see the last person I saw wear Off-White was at, I'm old as hell, at my 20-year high school reunion. The one person there had Off-White. They do not live in St. Louis. 6 foot, blonde, beautiful. And I even said something to her.
Did she have on the blue, the Off-White, the women's like it's like the blue kind of skin tight, like the, what is that?
It was like a plaid overshirt or something.
Okay.
And I even said something to her, because in high school I never talked to her.
Yeah.
But her wearing that shirt was like, hey, I know that's, because it didn't say Off-White, it just had the arrow cross thing on the back. And I never talked to her in high school ever.
Yeah.
Came up to her at the reunion, had some drinks, and was like, No one else in here knows that's Off-White, but I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then she talked to me for the rest of the night. We never talked in high school, but the fact I knew what it was, but it's still at the same time, like, if you're telling me Virgil's Off-White, this chick who had this on is not streetwear. Right. She is like just a high, like just, she's on that upper echelon with everything she does. She's not streetwear. And I know the shirt she was wearing, a plaid Off-White shirt that had the arrows, had to be like a $1,200. It was essentially damn near a flannel, the
crosses on the
that's all it was.
See, the last person that I really saw wearing Off-White was a woman, and she had on the Off-White Nike, the jumpsuit,
which I'm cool with. I like that.
Everybody, a lot of women have been wearing that, which, like I said, I'm okay with. I think, again, to say that streetwear is going to die, that means that you'd have to be the one to actually kill it, right? You'd have to be the one to say, okay, I'm not making any more streetwear. And if he pulls out of that, and I think he's kind of giving everyone the hint right now, he's going to pull out. So whatever you're doing, you better start wrapping your stuff up, or you're going to be stuck out there with all this, whether it be product or allocation. If you're your own fashion house or something, you're going to be stuck. So he's literally telling you that. So you kind of have to, you're kind of in that weird spot, because with Balenciaga and with Louis Vuitton, all these people, they're following suit. They're making these sneakers that are, because I have to speak from a sneaker perspective. The sneaker perspective, I mean, Kanye tried to change up streetwear and try to cancel
hobo chic.
Yeah, the hobo chic shit, and it didn't work. Like, it was just too expensive, or it just didn't make sense. Like, so again, Virgil, I get where you're coming from. Like, yeah, fashion changes, all that stuff. But for him to say the other piece of that quote, 'cause I had to read it. The other piece of it, he was saying it's going to be more about vintage wear and vintage clothing. That's streetwear, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what most of the streetwear stuff that people are wearing now is vintage. They're going to vintage stores, buying the baggy stuff or the ironic shirts that came out in the 80s and crap, and that's their streetwear.
Yeah.
So, like I said, streetwear will never die, especially if you're passing it to vintage wear. Just what you're saying is that new stuff's not going to sell. Like, the $1,000 stuff's not going to sell. Okay, I'll give you that. Which
is funny because you mentioned Kanye.
Yeah.
And Kanye under his house, like, I don't want to say his house,
his
but
tree, his coaching tree or whatever.
Which I still think is kind of BS, because they throw Jerry Lorenzo in there, who was already somewhat established when he kind of linked with Kanye. Because Jerry Lorenzo, before, like, he was a club promoter and was he's a born again Christian, so I respect him for that. But he was a club promoter, and after that, he was a fashion stylist for Matt Kemp. And when he couldn't find clothes for Matt Kemp, he decided to make Matt Kemp's clothes.
I didn't know that. Wow.
And that's how Fear of God came, also with his being a born again Christian. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do anything anymore. So he made Fear of God. So when he got to Kanye, he'd already been doing his thing for a little while.
Yeah.
Kanye definitely kind of helped probably open some doors, but like Jerry Lorenzo was already doing his thing. But then also you have Virgil. You also have Don C.
Who disappeared for a second.
I got issues with Don C. That's for another time, another place. If I ever see Don C. in public, it's going to be a situation.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be some furniture.
That does not reflect the views of 39 Castles, Don C. You're definitely encouraged to come by the store.
Well, no, Don C., I'll tell you what it is. Quick story. When he released the Just Don Jordan 2s in the Arctic Pink, and they dropped, I was one of the people who was fortunate enough to get them.
Yeah.
He charged me the $600 or something for them, took it out of my card, and then magically said we shouldn't have dropped these. These aren't coming out in the adult sizes. And then literally took 6 weeks to give me my money back. So no, like, Don C., I do have a problem with you. Like, I definitely do have a problem with you. You took my money in seconds, 6 weeks to give it back to
me. Yeah.
So yeah, like, Don C., no, I have a problem. And actually, because of that, I sold all my Don C. shoes. Because I was that mad. Like, the blue ones, the beach, the hat, everything, I was that pissed. Because I was like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that's just a sneakerhead story, whatever. But so it's interesting. Like, so at least with Virgil, Kanye, and Jerry Lorenzo, in some aspects, between now what Virgil's doing with Louis Vuitton, I don't want to say they're the three-headed monster of streetwear, but they're the three-headed monster of that $1,000 expensive streetwear. Which maybe that was a way. I don't know if and this is just my speculation, maybe Virgil was throwing a shot at them. Like, this is over. Because if you look at Fear of God stuff, $900 for a pair of sweatpants, player?
But that's so he did something that I think Kanye tried to do too, which is that he created two different price points. So of course you can get that Fear of God expensive shit,
or the essentials,
or you get the essentials from like PacSun for like $150, where you're like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. So I appreciate stuff like that, but I do agree. I don't see that actually. Wow, that actually makes me think, because you're right. Like I think that's the point I was trying to. I couldn't articulate it correctly, but that's actually what I was getting at, in the sense of, yes, people are not going to buy that $1,000 stuff anymore. Vintage will probably take over because it's cheaper. Why not?
And it's got more roots to it, because even if you buy vintage, someone who's not into vintage, you might be wearing a band T-shirt of someone they listen to, and be like, oh shit, I had that when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Like, I had that shirt. Okay, that's dope. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, but like a Fear of God hoodie, oversized hoodie, that was $900
with no marking, by the way.
No marking.
Yeah.
No, like, you could have gotten that at Walmart. I don't know. That's why I think some of that stuff's played out, because I learned just myself trying to distress jeans. Like, I'd buy a cheap pair of jeans just to mess around with.
Yeah.
And then I would do something, wash them 3-4 times, do some more stuff. I'd wear them. People were like, those are dope. Where did you get those? Like, from my left hand and my right hand.
Right.
Like, I just took a pair of just whatevers and just started messing around with them and decided how to do, like, and get more compliments on jeans like that than any kind of expensive jeans I own.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's always going to be the wave, though, is that a point that you made earlier. With streetwear, these streets are not wearing that type of stuff. They're not wearing Fear of God. They're not wearing Off-White. They're not wearing Yeezys outside of, like, 350s or whatever. Like, they're wearing Gucci.
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton. Like, they're going to, if you're a St. Louis person, you know this, they're going to Plaza Frontenac to buy their stuff. They're not getting it from, we're
not giving anybody any free plugs. They're not getting any from any other places.
Other places or anything like that. Like, they're not going to those other places. And I know that for a fact, because I know people that work at Frontenac that say, yo, these cats come in, they'll drop a couple grand on a few things, and that's it. They're not buying that Kanye stuff. They don't even know what Kanye makes. Like, they don't. So
they know
right,
Yeezy
Virgil.
350s.
Yeah, you're right, Virgil. You're right.
But what kills is they're going to the Frontenac, dropping a couple stacks and getting what? Just a couple little things, maybe
little things. A belt, a bag, maybe.
The little coin pouch thing.
The one coin pouch that they spend $1,000 on, and then you can't put nothing in it for like 2 weeks. I know exactly how that goes. I mean, I think that, look, I'm not going to say that Virgil and those guys are money hungry, because I don't think they were thinking like that. I think what they were trying to do was trying to change the mindset of the individual, and I think they did a good job of changing the mindset of the culture to want more, want better, and be okay with spending that much. And again, speaking from a sneaker store owner's perspective, in a city that the sneaker culture has been underground for so long. Sneaker culture has been underground for so long. I think that the piece of it is educating society to be okay with spending a certain amount of money for a certain product. Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all of them have done that. They've
also been around hundreds of years.
Exactly. So they had the ability to do that. Streetwear and all of us on this level, we're on the ground level of individuals who $1,000 is a lot of money for them. So it's educating them on, hey, this is actually, if this is what you want, this is what you're going to spend. Whereas, again, Gucci and them, like you said, they've been doing it for hundreds of years. So that's it. Like, people are just used to it and they're okay with that. So, like I said, I give the Kanye coaching tree the credit for that, as far as helping to kind of push that boundary. But I don't see it dying. I just don't.
If you think about it, it's a consistent evolvement of that niche. Because if you think about it, you go back 10, 12, 15 years, you had your Echoes, your Mark Echo. You had the four brothers who had FUBU. You had Shabazz brothers. Even further back, you had Karl Kani. So, I mean, we've seen it before. We just see it going in kind of ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. Because if you really think about it, you take a step back and hit pause for a minute, this tree that we're talking about, it's a black dude. It's
true.
Kanye.
That's true.
And think about, like, even watching his growth from pink polos and backpacks to Techno Marine watches to the sweaters, the teddy bear. Like, you see him evolve. And just like it's very interesting. So it's just like I go back to what Virgil, and it maybe just quote taken out of context. I agree. Streetwear will be dead in 10 years. The streetwear that we have today, whatever this iteration is, it will be dead.
Okay,
that is correct because it's going to evolve.
I'll go with that. I'll give you that, and that's where it's up to the fashion houses to go with the change. Because you mentioned the other places, the FUBUs, the Echoes, all these things. Yes, they disappeared, but streetwear didn't. They just didn't because they did not adjust accordingly. And again, like I mentioned earlier, Virgil's giving the warning out. So if you are a fashion house or somebody who's creating, adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
You have to think ahead because if not, you're going to be stuck with a lot of stuff. And then your stuff's going to be sold at like Kmart, like Mark Echo and things like that. But I agree. I think the iteration of streetwear that we're in now will be dead, but streetwear as a culture, and I think that's where the different interpretations of the statement have come from, because I think people took it so literal as in what streetwear is going to die? No,
and they just read it and they didn't
think about
look at it holistically.
Yeah, that the iteration we're in will die, but the overall industry or genre in the industry or whatnot. It's not going anywhere.
Because if you think about it, is streetwear different from hip hop wear? Like,
of course not. Like that's the thing. And even so that's the other piece. So
how does your typical rapper dress right now?
Ooh,
that's what I'm saying.
Ooh, yeah.
How does he dress? He's still not wearing the stuff that's quote unquote streetwear.
Right.
He's not.
Yeah, they don't wear Supreme like that. They still wearing Fendi, Balenciaga, things like that.
It just depends on who it is. Like that's what I'm saying. Like.
Well, here's the question, though. Do you think, so even with this statement, because I think people have been getting reactions and responses from the wrong people. There's one person, and one person only, who we could say is the godfather of streetwear. He didn't start it, but he's definitely the godfather of streetwear. With the resurgence of Dapper Dan, do you think he will allow what gave him his bread and butter and his notoriety?
I don't consider him streetwear.
Oh, he's definitely streetwear.
No, he's hip hop drug dealer wear.
That's definitely, but he definitely.
But when I think of streetwear, like also when I think of streetwear, I almost think of like a skateboarder. I don't think of Dapper Dan.
Okay.
I think of Dapper Dan as like paid in full. Like he took like even him getting the prints from people. Like he was getting the real authentic prints and putting on something else that is like that's not streetwear. To me, that is for the culture. That is more hip hop wear than streetwear. Streetwear, I'm thinking of a baggy torn jeans, Nike Dunks, a Supreme hoodie, and you're a skateboarder. And I think of Vision streetwear. I think of Supreme. I think of Airwalk. I think of Van. I think of skaters. I almost think that people who don't skateboard, who have taken streetwear and claimed it as your own, shame on you. It's not yours. Yeah. Streetwear to me really is the skaters. It is the evolvement of skater wear.
And it's funny because the skaters are not the ones saying anything about it.
Skaters haven't said nothing about
it. Because they don't care, because, again, that's the whole essence of being a skater, is that you just wear what you want to wear versus wearing what somebody tells you to wear or leads you to wear.
It's funny, even when we talk about the skaters, like they were the ones that, when I picture Supreme, they had it first. And now all these people who don't skateboard and don't do this, that's why a lot of skaters hate Supreme now, because they hate what it represents, these people who have taken it from them. And all these things that you can get Supreme logos on, Supreme ashtrays, Supreme hammers, Supreme dumbbell set, Supreme drum set, Supreme this, Supreme that. Like that's not what, like, you've bastardized it.
That's interesting. I think that's a good take. And who knows, that actually may benefit Supreme, because as we said, fashion is cyclical. So say it does teeter off, and then Supreme kind of comes back, works on some stuff, and then comes back again. So it may just take off again. It's all cyclical.
Think about, and people give me all sorts of trouble for this, but I think in our generation, the best the two best businessmen in the hip hop generation ever are Jay-Z and Sean Combs.
Okay.
Think about how much stuff you saw that had a Sean John label.
Oh man, everything.
He took over Macy's for years.
Yeah, man.
So think about it.
The Sean John.
Think about it. Like,
yeah.
You either wore a Yankees fitted or a Sean John hat.
Yeah.
With a velour Sean John tracksuit or something.
And then the Rockaware, yeah, man, those were the days. Fat Farm, Baby Fat, all
and
that
even
stuff.
think about Rockaware. Now that's just morphed into Rock Nation with the paper planes.
It has.
That's still rock. Like, I don't care what you say. It might be Rock Nation. Like to the novice, that's a Rockaware hat.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's Rock Nation, but like the paper planes, because even they have a clothing line.
Yeah.
So it's just like it is cyclical. It's funny. Hip hop wear and streetwear. I hope the people realize it's two different lanes. And I definitely think I agree with Virgil's comment on just like streetwear as we know it will die. Mm-hmm. It has to. Will it get resurrected? Probably. It'll just morph into something else. Hip hop wear is different. So I think some people who are getting all bent out of shape about it are merging the lines of what it is.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that I read where people were bringing his race into it too. So they were making it into a racial discussion of this black man saying streetwear is going to die and he works for or works with white fashion houses and things like that. And I'm glad that you kind of jogged my memory on that, because that was a piece that I did want to mention today, in the sense of this is not necessarily a racial discussion. Like, streetwear is not a racial thing.
But you hear street, or anyone hears street, and what is the automatic
condition? Right, we've been conditioned to think.
You said streetwear, so you automatically think black.
Because you see what I did. I went to Dapper Dan, and that was part of that issue of how do we define streetwear? Where do we define it at? And it's
two different lanes.
It's two different lanes.
Two different lanes.
Pieces. But I think socially, we have tried to blend it, or socially they have blended because of ignorance, in the sense of just ignorance of lack of knowledge. So ignorance to what the two things are, what they both bring to the table. Because you, again, like you pointed out, a hip hop artist, R&B singer, whatever, is not going to really wear dunks. I mean, they'll wear the off-white dunks probably, but they're not going to really be wearing dunks like that, or baggy jeans and skateboarding. They're not going to really do that unless that was their life. Just as much as you will not see, I guarantee, unless they've been gifted to them, you will not see a skateboarder wearing Fendi or something like that. Like, you just won't see it. So, yeah, there's definitely two defining things.
You know who, when I think of celebrity who, fashion-wise, I feel is very good, has perfected towing the line between like that high-end fashion and streetwear? Wale.
Okay. But, he was a Nike Talk guy back in the day. He was,
So he already has the shoe game, everyone knows, but like, look at his dress. Mm-hmm. Just follow Wale through the years, because he was, like, to me, was one of the, when Supreme was kind of on that teetering, he was, a Supreme guru. Like, he was that guy.
Yeah. So
it's funny to see how all this kind of morphs and what it leads to, because, it's fashion. Yeah. I know we normally talk about shoes, but fashion and shoes go hand in hand.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. You'll see fashion shows from these high fashion houses will have Nikes on.
Perfect example, a $2,500 Christian Dior Jordan 1.
Oh my God, yeah. That's ridiculous.
The Prada Adidas Superstars.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, look, Alexander McQueen, basically it looks like a Stan Smith. Like, it's a whole thing. Like,
look at all the Fear of Gods who look like Jordan 1s.
Yeah.
That are the Fear of God shoes. The color blocking is a Jordan 1. Mm-hmm. So it's just, Or
what was it, the Aldos or something? What was it? Aldo had the Chicago Jordan 1s. Was it Aldo? Remember they had the fake Jordan 1s, the fake Jordan 1 Chicagos that had like
the star thing with the little
thing on it. Yeah, so, it's...
Well, just, I guess what it boils down to is the sneakerheads, we run the world, and, So,
and we can't be offended by certain things. We also have to let celebrities be celebrities. Let them say what they want to say. We dictate what they do. They don't dictate what we do. So even if we don't want streetwear to die, if you're one of those people that have not been able to separate it through this conversation that we've been discussing, then don't let it die with it. Like, do what you need to do.
Be the catalyst. But if you do want to talk about it more, please DM or reach out to us. Definitely. This is a flowing conversation. And this is definitely, we're at 39 Cal, so this is a place where we always talk about chop shop. This is one of the things. Come in here, let's talk about it. Give us your opinion. You can reach us at Soul Me State on Instagram, Diddy314. You can reach us at 39 Castles, Launchpad McQuack 06. Get at us. Let's have a continuing conversation. If you enjoyed this week, please like, subscribe. You can find us everywhere. Also, tune in to Ball and Buckets where we talk sports. And tune into the Country Cousins because that's where we talk about that ratchetness. Just enjoy that. Other than that, have a great holiday weekend. We appreciate you.